Hey, it's Donna Rudowitz. And today I wanted to talk to you about the concept of overcoming. I have the belief system and I have the global belief system here at Divorcing and Gracefully and Beyond. We have one major one, which is everything works out for us. And the other global belief system is that anything can be overcome. And over the past few weeks, we've been talking about the concept of manifestation and talking about the concept of creation and how we create an outcome. And then what are the things that we do in order to bring that outcome to us? One of the things that before we even get into today's conversation, I wanted to bring to the table in the whole manifestation realm is also bringing in a little science that I think is very important for us to understand, to be able to hold the framework of really being able to create what it is we want and desire. And that is understanding how our nervous system works, because we are energetic beings, right? If science has showed us that we are made up as human beings, we are energy. And what we know about energy, it cannot be created and it cannot be destroyed. Energy just transforms. So when we understand our nervous system, which is our energetic component on our body and how it works, it does help us really figure out, now I understand this component of manifestation. I understand this component of why this is important and what a big role it plays in creating the outcome that you desire. So the nervous system itself, if we kind of think about, the nervous system has two branches, and the main nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, right, has two branches. One is the sympathetic nervous system, and the second branch is the parasympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic nervous system is responsible for stimulating activities associated with the fight or flight response. Now, the parasympathetic nervous system is responsible for the stimulation of what we call rest and digest, or feed and breed, which are activities occur when the body's at rest. So this is where we're looking to cultivate. We want to bring our brain and our nervous system out of the sympathetic side and bring it into the parasympathetic side. So for instance, if a deer is out in the field and a predator comes up to that deer, and that deer now realizes, oh my gosh, I'm going to be this, let's say it's a lion, right? I'm going to be this lion's lunch. Well, the sympathetic nervous system is going to come into play, and it's going to give this deer an adrenaline dump. It's going to say, okay, like, you're going to fight or flight. This is your time. If you don't move, you're going to be eaten. So we need to just drive you and get you out of the way. So the sympathetic nervous system is going to come into play, and it's going to get the deer out of danger. Now, once the deer is out of danger, after just a little while, the deer automatically moves out of sympathetic nervous system and moves into its parasympathetic nervous system, right? It's an automatic response. So the deer is not constantly in stress. It's not constantly under fear. We are perhaps one of the only species that does this. So once we leave danger and the sympathetic system has been ignited, we tend to overthink things, right? So we tend to think about that event over and over again. We tend to think about how horrible it was and how difficult it was. We relive the event as if it happened yesterday. And some people could be 15 to 20 years out and still relive the event as it was yesterday, and they're still igniting their sympathetic nervous system. So what does this mean to you, and why is this so important to understand? Because if we're in our sympathetic nervous system, we are in fight or flight. Our brain is responding to the environment as if we are in danger, and it's not going to allow us to operate in a sense of, when we want to step up that energetic scale of frequency, we're going to remain at a very low scale, right? So our brain, when we're in that sympathetic nervous system, actually pinches off our connection to the divine. It actually causes blood and certain hormones to rush to areas of our body that are going to be needed for us to flee. So maybe we may have some digestive issues. We're not going to feel in peace. we are going to be operating where David Hawkins has given us the level of consciousness scale. We're going to be operating really in force, meaning we're not in flow with our environment. We're in fear of the environment. So we're going to be operating in the levels of guilt and shame and fear and desire and anger and pride. And all of those, when we're operating at that lower level vibrational frequency scale, those are not levels of manifestation. Those are levels of fear. And those are going to keep us exactly where we're at and creating the same things that we've had in our past and creating them over and over and over again. Now, versus when we're in our parasympathetic nervous system, that's when we're at peace. That's where our body is able to digest properly. That's where our body is able to heal. That's where our body is able to reset. That's where our body is able to step into love. That's where we're going to be increasing our vibrational level of frequency. And we're going to be stepping into the levels of consciousness such as joy, love, reason, acceptance, peace, and ultimately enlightenment. And when we're operating at that higher level frequency, we have power, right? So David Hawkins in his book, Power versus Force, explained this. When we're operating in a sympathetic nervous system and we're operating in fear and flight, right? If we're operating in fight or flight, we're operating in force. We're operating in fear, guilt, shame, anger, pride. When we're operating in our parasympathetic system, when we're at peace, when we're operating out of our heart center, we're operating in love. That's where we're stepping into our power of peace, love, and reason. And that's where manifestation happens. That's why it's not wrong or right, bad or good, that where your nervous system is. And if we're operating in the parasympathetic versus the sympathetic, it's what we know creates manifestation. It's what we know helps us get to the next level. And that is quieting the brain, quieting the nervous system, and operating as much time as possible in our parasympathetic nervous system. And you might be saying to me, well, Donna, I don't know how to do this. And I get that, because we as a society as a whole have become addicted to scarcity. So many of us have become so accustomed to accepting the crumbs of life that we've become addicted to the scarcity. We've become addicted to living in fight or flight. We've become addicted to there's not enough. And what happens if I don't do this? Then I'm going to be left with this. And we come into this space where we not our whatever the danger was that we experienced is long gone, right? That danger is long gone, but we are creating our own scarcity with our own mindset. And we are creating our brain to going into sympathetic nervous system, which is causing stress in our body as a whole, in our digestive system, in how we breathe, and how our heart is functioning, and how we're waking, what is our sleep patterns, and anxiety, and in depression, right? So we are creating all of these outside influences because of the way that we're thinking. Right. And it's believing, again, that scarcity, that we're in danger, that we're in fear. And what I want to bring to the table is that even though you feel that, that's just a feeling, it's not fact. This is the time that you get to tell your brain that you are safe, that you are sound. Listen, things may not be the way that you want it. You may not be in the place that you could say, oh my gosh, I'm exactly where I should be, but you are safe from danger. You're not going to get eaten. That's in the past, right? That traumatic event that you've experienced is long gone. And this is where you get to say, if I want to really step into manifestation, if I want to step into the belief system that anything can be overcome, one of the main core components that I need to nurture is my nervous system. And that is getting it back into a state of peace. And how do we do that? We do that through meditation. We do that through our gratitude journal. We do that through our 50 reasons why we're amazing. We do that through our soundtrack of awesome, right? So all of these exercises that I'm encouraging you to do, or that are part of the Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond program, they're exercises in there for a reason. It's not just because I haphazardly spoke about it or thought, hey, this would be a good thing. It's because the science behind it is allowing you to go into a state of gratitude, to bring your heart and your core center and your soul to a state of peace. All of this is going to bring your nervous system down to peace, that parasympathetic level, where now you could begin to challenge that addiction to scarcity and to say, wait a minute, does this serve me anymore? right? There's just as there's scarcity available to you, there's abundance available to you. And it's how, and the way we get to our manifestation is, what are you envisioning, how you could hold that frequency, and how you could amplify that frequency. That's going to bring you the manifestation. So it's, what is your outcome, and holding a convicted belief that it's not about if you're going to get your outcome, it's just about when you're going to get that outcome. So it's envisioning what you want your outcome to be, holding that belief, standing in conviction of what you want that outcome to be, and doing the things you could do to amplify your frequency, amplify your level of heart center, to amplify that level of love, and to be into that, the levels of consciousness where there's power. So we're stepping into, again, reason, love, joy, peace, enlightenment. Happiness and productivity are here. Peak performance without stress can be found at this level. So your ability to envision what it is you want, to hold that belief with conviction, to do your part in amplifying and increasing your energetic vibrational frequency level and amplifying it, that is what is going to bring you to your outcome. I would pretty much be safe to say that over 90% of people give up on their dreams before they even get to them. They give their belief systems are so strong in that addiction to scarcity that they don't allow themselves the belief system of what's possible. And we've been talking about this over the past few weeks, is what belief systems are available to you. Because just as we're looking at an obstacle, we could have a belief system that says how hard this is, how difficult it is, how challenging it could be. And that's certainly available to you. But we could also look at the obstacle and say, what could be good about this? What muscle is the universe inviting me to utilize at this moment? What can I be learning about this? How could this serve me? What can I take from this? What's possible here for me, right? Both options are available. So it's time for you to really look at and say, where am I operating in scarcity? And what can I do to break that addiction to scarcity and operate in abundance? We want to move out of force, right? If you ever felt force, right? If someone has ever come up to you and wanted you to do something, but you felt they were forcing you to do something, even though you knew that maybe it even was the good thing for you to do, you may not have done it just for the sheer fact that you were feeling forced to do it against your will. It's the same thing here. If you're going through life with force, it's not going to be fun. And if you're going through your life with power, and when I'm saying power, I mean that energetic power, you're operating at your highest level frequency you possibly could, that's when things become fun. That's when things become easy. That's when manifestations and blessings and miracles occur, and they come to you so fast and so hard, you don't even realize what's going on because you're in the flow. I want to remind you that success is reserved for the committed, right? And when we think about anything that could be overcome, success is reserved for the committed. If you are not committing to your outcome, if you're willy-nilly, if you're sort of just kicking the tires and saying, maybe I could do this, maybe I can't, the likelihood of you achieving that is not good. But when you make your commitment, that's where now you're cooking with some fire. You've got to want it. And that's one thing that I want to bring in here in the manifestation piece, and creating your vision and dreams, and operating at the highest vibrational level of frequency you could be operating at, is deciding what you want. If you don't know what it is you want, then it's going to be very difficult to get to your goal. And if you're having difficulty deciding, well, what do I want? Because, when I ask this question to a lot of people, it's a common answer. Donna, I'm not even sure what I want. And then what ends up happening is, when our brain can't make sense out of something or put logic to it, we get divided thoughts. We may go into overwhelm. We may on the outside say, yeah, this is what I want. But the inside, it's like, no, you can never have this, right? So we have a lot of conflicting energy. So what I like to say is it's okay if you don't know exactly what you want, because in the past and the way that we've been conditioned over time, we haven't been really taught and trained and conditioned on how to speak very clearly for exactly what it is I want. And this is where we could say, thank you, God, universe. I'm so happy and grateful now that this has really come to my table. And I really see that I haven't been very clear with exactly what I want. And I'm going to use this opportunity now to really decide what I want. And if you're having difficulty, you go into the feeling of what do you want to feel? If we say, okay, we're looking at a 1-year goal, how do I want to feel? Right? So if we're going into tools outside of ourselves to bring in what we want, like hoping someone else will change, or wishing that things were different, or stepping into entitlement, I deserve this, that's not a good strategy, right? It's not a good, because what you're doing is you're putting your outcome on outside of yourself, in the hands of other people, in the hands of other situations, in the hands of other circumstances. And I'd like to say this, and I say this with utmost love for everyone, but hoping and wishing are not strategies. They're good tools, right? Having hope in something and kind of visioning. When I say wishing, I think about that as visioning. Wishing and visioning are wonderful tools to have. And it's very different if we say, I deserve this from ego versus I deserve this because I'm a child of God and I know this is in my path for me, right? There's very different strategies with that. But when you want to manifest, we don't want to put our eggs on hoping and wishing. We want to put it on strategy. We want to put it on science. We want to put it on what we know works. And what we know works, what science has showed us, in order to create and manifest the things that we want in our lives, that number one, we have to start with defining what it is we want and being very clear on that. Number two is stepping into our heart center with an elevated emotional state, right? Increasing that heart level vibrational frequency, increasing the gratitude, increasing the way that elevated emotion. And that's done through gratitude. That's done through bringing your parasympathetic nervous system at ease. It's done through listening to your soundtrack of awesome. It's done through maybe meditating and going through, maybe even there's meditations you could do, there's tapping techniques you could do, right? There's a whole bunch of tools that could help you increase that heart center. So when we have the vision and we have the elevated emotion, this is where the manifestation again happens. So we don't want to put our strategy on hoping and wishing outside of ourselves. We want to say, wait a minute, I don't need anything outside of me in order to create this amazing life that I want. I don't need anything outside of me to create the job that I want, to create the relationship that I want, to create the way that I'm showing up in life, is we know that we have the power inside of us in order to create it. But again, remember, success is reserved for the committed. So if you want to be successful, then it's time to dive in. You've got to be 100% committed. You've got to be 100% committed to your outcome and goal, and know that you're going to see challenges along the way. You're going to wobble along the way. You're going to be going down the road thinking you're going in the right direction, and bam, something's going to happen and it's not going to go that way. Now, most people may say, well, see, this doesn't work for me, I'm going to give up. And that's where they stop 3 feet from gold. Here at DG, as a Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond Sisters, that a challenge is just an opportunity. We're not going to bet the farm on it. We're not going to put our identity on the challenge. Our identity is that we are moving towards our goal. Our identity is that our outcome is 100% possible for us. Our identity is that we are success. We are going all the way. We refuse to stop until we reach our outcome. And this is something that my coach has said to me that I'm going to say to you again with utmost love, is when you want to manifest and create this life, you've got to go all the way. You've got to put that 100% commitment in it, and you've got to stop arguing with the price of success and just pay it, right? So what do I mean by that? Sometimes you may have to wake up before everybody else wakes up. Like, let's say you've enrolled in this course, Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond. You have a job, you have a family, you have other things that you're doing, and your day is already filled. So you may have to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning, or even 5 o'clock in the morning in order to get a module or two in, right? Maybe you're graduated from the program and you're continuing your journey. So you've done the modules, but maybe you need to revisit it. Maybe you know that meditation is a really important part of your day, that because that brings your parasympathetic nervous system into place, but your day is crazy. So you got to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning because you want to get your hour meditation in. So you've got to stop arguing the price of success and just pay it. You know, when you're saying, I am going to do whatever it takes in order to reach my outcome, it really means you're going to do whatever it takes to reach your outcome. Now, whether that's time, whether that's energy, whether it's effort, whether it's money, whatever you're investing, that is what you're going to invest, because you are worth your investment. You are the best investment you could ever make. Right? So the people that fight for their outcome, the people that refuse to let go, the people that stay focused on their outcome, they're going to fight for it. They're going to work hard. And what I mean by fight for it, I'm not saying that this has to be the battle. But what I'm saying is sometimes we have to fight our own desires and our own past behaviors and belief systems. And as we're creating new ones, there's a time in the middle. I like to say when one door closes, another one opens, but it's hell in the hallway. So as you're becoming aware of the old patterns and beliefs that don't serve you, and you're beginning to instill new beliefs and patterns that do serve you, there's a space in the middle that sometimes is going to have to fight yourself, right? So maybe in the past, you that was your schedule. You just said, like, I'm not, this is my schedule. This is what I'm always doing. This is the way I've always done it. I've always woken up at this time. I've always had lunch at this time, and I went to bed at this time. And now your body's going to say, well, maybe you don't need to really do that module or do that meditation now. You really do need some sleep. And you know how you get if you don't sleep. So now you're going to buy into the story. Well, if I don't get enough sleep, well, then, I can't do this work. And how am I going to fit into this work? And now that means that I'm not going to be able to do the work and I won't be successful at it. You see where I'm going? Versus having the belief system that in the past, I had this particular schedule. And now it is my honor to flex this schedule. I have more than enough time in the day to get what I need done. I have more than enough time at night to get a nice restful sleep. And in the past, I'm used to 8 hours sleep. Well, now I'm going to get 6 hours of such wonderful and restful sleep. And those 2 hours that I have that I'm going to be awake, I'm going to invest in my consciousness. I'm going to invest in my meditation. And it's going to be the perfect way to start my day. And I'm going to find that I'm even more energized than I was in the past. Do you see what I'm saying? Right? We want to move out of the grit and the hustle, and that it has to be a certain way and it's all or nothing. And we want to move into the magical. We want to move into the mystical. When our body goes into the parasympathetic mode and our mind is at ease and our brain is at ease, and we're able to step in to notice the miracles and synchronicities around us, this is when it all comes together. And it's understanding that you've got to build the muscle to your superhero. No one wakes up just becoming a superhero. I like to say it takes 20 years to become an overnight success, right? I'm teaching you here at Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond how to receive transformation in just 3 months. And a lot of people can't even understand how that's possible, but you can, because you understand the process that I'm teaching you. But it doesn't mean that your work is over in just 3 months. It means that you're going to continue to build your muscle to superhero. And it's stepping into your sense of humility. It's stepping into your sense of being humble and understanding that you don't have to carry the heavy work anymore. Your job is to quiet your brain. Your job is to increase your level of consciousness and operate at love and joy. When you do that, the universe is going to bring you what it is you desire. right? Your commitment is to your dream. Your commitment is to your outcome. And every obstacle that comes in your way is just another piece that's going to teach you and learn you what it is you need in order to take the next step to your dream. And you're either going to be in or you're going to be out. And that's where you come into the commitment. Am I in? Am I committed for my dream? Or am I out? I'm not committed for your dream. Right? Because everybody's excited at the beginning. January 1, everyone's excited to go to the gym. Everybody's excited to get on that treadmill. Everybody's excited to say, I want to lose X amount of pounds. And then come February 1, and the gyms are right back to the way they were. And here at Divorcing Gracefully and Beyond, I teach you how to remain consistent in your dream, right? How to remain consistent. So you're not, everybody's excited at the beginning, but we're excited at the beginning, the middle, and the end, is that we have consistency, is that we have stamina, that we're not just going in like a bull in a china closet, is that we're doing the steps along the way. We're building our muscle of superhero. We are fighting for what we want. We're either going to fight for our dreams or we're going to fight for our struggle. And I could tell you 1,000%, fight for your dreams. Right? You're going to be fighting for either one. You're going to fight for the struggle or you're going to fight for your dream. So you might as well fight for your dream and go all the way and stop arguing with the price of success and just do it. I like to say this is where I come and it's pretty abrupt. So I pardon myself even before I say this because people could be offended by this. But when you fight for your dream and you have a commitment to the outcome and you're not wavering it and you have a conviction, when the obstacle comes up, you just handle that obstacle and you move on. You handle your shit. You have your outcome. You know what you want. An obstacle comes up. You handle your shit. You figure it out and you move forward. Right? You don't make it mean the obstacle. We're not going to make it mean that it's the reason why you could give up or it's the reason why things don't work, because that's the past. That's the past patterning and belief systems that you're familiar with. And those feelings feel good, but they're not a fact. Right? If you want to create a new personal reality, then you've got to create a new personality. You can't create new with the old. Right? It's stepping into this new personality, stepping into a new belief system and understanding that the past patterns, beliefs, and the past energetic level of operating at scarcity don't work. You can't operate at scarcity and operate at abundance at the same time. It's impossible. You've got to choose one. You've got to choose one. You've got to remain committed to one. You've got to own one. You've got to step in that outcome. And you have a choice. Am I going to stay in force where there's inaction, where I feel victimized, where there's hyperactivity, right? You're constantly scanning the environment for problems. You're constantly scanning where the other shoe could drop. You're going to be scanning for threats. You're going to be scanning for how things could go wrong. And guess what's going to happen? Everything is going to happen that way. It's just things won't work out for you. Things aren't going to, they're going to feel hard. You're going to feel victimized. Versus if we're operating in power, this is where synchronicity and extraordinary outcomes happen. This is where peak performance happens. This is where happiness and productivity happens. This is where flow happens, where you'll be thinking about something and miraculously it will show up in your life and you're going to say, oh my gosh, like I can't even believe this has happened. So it's remembering anything can be overcome and call it what it is. That's all it is. Whatever obstacle you're facing on the road to your goal is just that. It's just an obstacle. Your job is to maintain your energetic frequency as high a level as you possibly can by doing your gratitude journal, by quieting your parasympathetic nervous system, right? Or quieting the sympathetic into the parasympathetic, doing your gratitude journal, listening to your soundtrack of awesome, reaching out, coming to the group coaching calls, reaching out for support. All of those things are going to be your tools to your manifestation. So with that said, I hope today's conversation helped you. I hope you came away with some tidbits of gold, and I wish everyone an amazing rest of the day, and I'll see you on the other side. Have a great rest of the day. Bye.